Hey guys, welcome to another video on Budget with a July Dreamer. My name is Miranda, and on this channel I share everything personal finance, my personal finances, and as of late I have been sharing with you guys some vlogs which I absolutely love filming, and I hope you're enjoying the vlogs as well. Today is Sunday the 9th of February, and earlier in the week I shared, well, by the time you're watching this video, I would have shared about how much I make from 3 rental properties, and I thought it's apt that as I'm planning my content for the month, I do another rental property video, but this time I wanted to focus on the pros and cons of owning a leasehold as a homeowner. So let's get into it. Okay, so I have my trusted laptop here because I've literally just written down like a quick script on what I want to cover, like just the pros, the cons, and then my personal experience. I do have my trusted coffee here because after church I went into Greg's, got some food and coffee as well, but I just feel like it didn't hit the way it should hit. So I came home and I made myself some more coffee, and I am hoping to nap in about half an hour once I finish filming this video, because you guys, I am so tired and it's so cold outside. Like, February, what are you doing? I know we're still in the thick of winter, but Lord give me strength. Anyway, I also made a sandwich, so I hope there's nothing in my teeth because I was eating just before. So anyway, your girl is yapping. Let us begin with today's video. So I wrote in my little script just like to explain what a leasehold property is, and I wrote that essentially a leasehold property is one where you don't fully own the land that your property is on. So you get granted exclusive use of a property for a fixed period of time. Now in the UK, I have seen some leasehold properties have like the fixed period be like 900 years. Not all of mine, I only have one. My current rental property is over 100 years, and okay, to be realistic, I don't know if in 100 years time like we'll be alive, what have you. I don't know what that generation from my family will be doing, but in any case, yeah, so there's about 100 years, but I've seen about 900 years, 990 for some leaseholds, I have also seen like the lowest be like 55 years, which I am told that those are pretty tricky to own. But anyway, so they can leasehold are properties that you are granted exclusive access to use for a defined period, and the period could be 900 years, 990 years, or something like that. But ultimately, once that period is over, the land goes back to the freeholder. So the persons or group that owns the land that your property is on, it goes back to them, and then they own the whole thing all over again. So it's almost like you're just renting it from them. In my case, I'm renting it from them to rent to somebody else, right? So that is like a little description that I had there for what a leasehold property is. I was always told like to stay away from leasehold properties. Even now my mortgage advisor is like, let's just stay away from them. And honestly, I agree, but I still wanted to give it a try, and also it was in my budget, and I was like, I want to see how it goes. I don't think I intend to keep this rental property beyond 10 years time. I don't think, because initially I had a minimum of 5 years of owning it, but I could extend it to 10 years. But I don't believe I want to own it longer than that, especially as the fixed time period is starting to come down a bit. So that is the little blurb about what a leasehold property is. Now, in terms of the pros of owning a leasehold property, I wrote here the first one as more affordable, especially for first-time buyers. Obviously, I'm not a first-time buyer, and even when I was buying the leasehold property, I already owned 2 properties at that point, so I wasn't a first-time buyer. But they are definitely a lot cheaper. They are almost like the quickest and easiest way for first-time buyers to get into the property market in the UK. I'm not saying other properties are impossible. I'm just saying it's a whole lot easier for leasehold properties because most of them are cheaper. and they require, if they're cheaper, then they require less deposit, right? So that kind of thing. So that's what I wrote down here. The second one was most leaseholds are in desired locations, like in the town center or near public transportation, and you know, just like a block of them, and it's very attractive to a lot of people. Mine is very much close to the main train station, so I know that, you know, I saw from when we had to put my leasehold property up for rent, like literally we put it today, the next day I had over 8 offers. Like, it was crazy, and they were not even offering the price I was offering. They were offering more than what I was offering, and some of them were even like saying I'll pay 10 months or 12 months in advance, and I'm like, okay, damn. Like, yeah, so most of them are in very much desired locations, and properties that are closer to public transportation or that are closer to the town center, they're just a lot more attractive, because if it's closer to transportation, it does mean that it reduces like the cost. Like, I live not too far from the train station, but a little bit away, so that for some people could require them to take like a train, so another transportation on top of the transportation they have to take, especially if they don't work in the city that they work in, like is the case for most people who work in London but live in like villages like I do. I mean, I work from home, so it doesn't really matter, but that's just what I'm trying to get to with that point. Then the pros also is most leasehold properties have shared amenities. So my leasehold property is in a block of flats, and I think I've mentioned before in the past, like, my dream is to buy the whole block of flats, so I become like the leasehold the freeholder of like a whole block of flats. I don't mind like leasing some of the units to other people, but I would like to own all of them and rent them myself, kind of situation. That's a big girl dream that I have, so I'm putting it to the universe. Universe, are you listening? Yeah. Anyway, so most of them have shared amenities, like my rental property, my leasehold. They share their main entrance. Mine is, I'll talk about this in the cons as well, is on the top floor. The hallway, the entryway, some even have like gyms, and I know like in the US there's a lot of like apartment buildings where you've got like the gym, you've got sauna, you've got laundry and all of that good jazz. The UK, maybe London or Manchester, places like that, but where I am, no, we share a door. Okay, we share a door. We don't share nothing else. We share the grounds, like, you know, during the summer people can picnic on those grounds, but outside of that, most of the leasehold apartments in these here good villages don't really have like great shared amenities, but some of them do. And then another pro that I put here was, there's always an option for most properties, for most leasehold properties, there's always an option for the leaseholders to buy a share of a freeload, or to buy the freeload with maybe themselves or with other people from either the people that own it or the company that runs it or what have you. So I've seen that there are some, and I was actually very interested by this. This is why I went ahead with buying the leasehold property, because I was like, okay, one step in, and maybe I just start buying units in that building enough that maybe I can then persuade the management company, like, I would like to buy a portion of this freehold. But, well, you know, a girl can dream, right? Like, a girl can dream. So that is what I put in terms of pros. So now let's move to cons, because, you know, everything yin and yang. All right, now I need to drink because my coffee is getting cold. And I'm watching, I always have like YouTube in the background. So where's my remote? And I currently have Tasha on, Tasha of Mind Your Money. I love watching her videos. I try and just spend time just catching up on all of her videos, so that's what I'm doing right now. Hence why I keep looking this side, like I'm multitasking, you guys. But anyway, the cons of owning a leasehold property. First, there is ground rent to pay to the freeholder, or a service charge. Now I have a service charge on my rental property, and I've been paying since I got this leasehold, but I know that recently they introduced, like, I think from 2022 leasehold properties from 2022 don't have to pay ground rent, but I believe they still have to pay things like service charge. Ground rent might be out, but service charge may not. So there may be things that the freeholder wants to, like the cost they want to pass on to the leaseholders. So I think that is still in play, but I think ground rent is out. So that, but there is something to pay to the freeholder. That's what I'm trying to say, which obviously I know because I pay for that every single month. I have also heard that it's actually quite expensive to, in general, owning a leasehold is expensive, but I've also heard that it's actually quite expensive, sometimes challenging to remortgage a leasehold property, especially if the time frame of the leasehold is short. So like I was saying before, like for the houses which have like a leasehold time frame left of about 55 years, I've seen those like really not sell. That's what I was trying to say. So when I was looking for my second rental property, I saw about 3 or 4 rental properties that had like leaseholds of less than 60 years left on them, and I kid you not, 1 or 2 of them are still on these websites that they're still looking for someone to buy them. It's been that many years, and I have tracked some of these houses, like they have reduced the price. One of them is, the first time I saw it was for going for 180k, and then next time I saw it was down to 150, and recently I saw it was 130 or 125. I could be wrong, but I remember being like, oh my god. But then I was like, why is it not selling? You know, like why is it not selling? Because one of them I even went to view it, but my financial advisor was like, probably not, let's not go there. But it was definitely cheaper. Like it keeps going low, because I think a lot of people were looking at it how it's a struggle to get a remortgage on that, because extending leases is a very costly thing. That's what I hear. But your girl is going to do her own research one of these days to understand, when they're saying it's expensive, are they talking about 10k, 20k, or are they talking about 5k, which is still a lot of money, don't get me wrong, but it's kind of like something like that I want to look into and then see, because if I see that it's something for me affordable, then I might just go for one of these leasehold properties with about 55 years. Obviously, I'm not encouraging it, I'm just saying. And if I find that to renew the leasehold is not too expensive, like if the cost of it comes up to like the original price that I saw it for, or 10k more than what it's been sold for, then I might consider that. But again, all talking right now, but we shall see. So yeah, so I've heard that. One of the cons I also wrote down is limited control of the property. I know there are some where you can't sublet, but I don't know if this is applicable for everywhere. I think it's more like first-time buyers, because obviously for the first-time buyers, they kind of have to like live in the property. But I could be wrong. I don't want to spread misinformation, but I've heard and I've read that it could be it does have like limited control, like you can't rent it out kind of thing, especially like if you bought it as a first-time buyer to stay in, and then you buy another property or move somewhere else and you decide, okay, I'm just gonna sublet this, and they're like, no. But anyway, that's one thing. And then another one that I put is although these properties are affordable at the front, I've put cheaper upfront, but long term can be costly because these service charges. And then there are times when, like, I remember getting a letter saying, oh, we have to, if we've made any changes to the property, like the inside of the property, for example, like changed the front door, then you will have to replace that door with a fireproof. Obviously, as the rules are changing in the UK, especially after Grenfell Tower fire, there's been a lot of rules that have been pushed in with good reason. So they were like, yeah, so if you've done anything to your door, then obviously you need to buy a fireproof door that meets these standards. If you've made any changes, if you haven't, then there's nothing to do. I was like, okay. But there's a lot. But yeah, so those are the pros and cons that I have written down to share in this video. And like I said at the beginning, I also wanted to actually share my personal experience. Now, if you have been watching any of my property videos, you will know that with rental property number 2, which is the leasehold, I have had the most time. And as of February 2025, actually, let me not even say just February, but end of January 2025, I had my inventory done on the rental property. All my properties get inventory check every single year to check that my house is still in a good condition, like there isn't any damage that is crazy, and also the place is still safe for the tenant. So I had that report done, and it was shared with me at the end of January. And now I've gotten a quote for some of the work that needed to be done. So with this rental property, I had to replace a whole bathroom because it was a whole mess, and it started leaking and started going into the property below. I don't know if I've mentioned this already, but my leasehold is the top one on the top floor. Was this a wise decision? I don't know, because I also don't know if I want to have the ground one. I think I didn't want the ground one for security reasons, because I didn't like the setup of the properties that were down below, because both the one at the bottom and the top were on sale, and I went for the top one because I wasn't really too keen on the security downstairs. Even though it looked a little bit bigger, I was just like, no, top floor. But I also don't know if I want to be the middle, because especially with my bathroom issues, it started leaking into the property below. You know what that means? Money. I had to, oh my god, it was such a thing. So I ended up doing that, and because of the way my property is, they do have windows. Don't get me wrong, they have windows in the bedroom, in the kitchen, and in the living room. Where they do not have a window is the bathroom, and that is where the extractor fan comes in. At the beginning of last year, when the current tenants moved in, within like 2-3 weeks of moving in, they reported that the extractor fan is not working. I'm like, child, okay, we can't have that, because mold, winters in this good country can be a pain. So I'm like, let's replace it quickly. Replaced it in January. Tell me why by February, March we had to replace the whole thing again, because we had such bad rains that ended up going into the pipe where the extractor fan like extracts the air and what have you, and it started collecting water. Then that ended up dripping into the thing and destroyed my extractor fan. Like a whole new extractor fan dead. And that's why I was saying in one of my videos last year, I mean, I think I said last year, like, are my properties bleeding me or something like that. That time I was just like, oh, let's just go ahead and fix it. I didn't even think this is the thing that my insurance company covers me for. Like, why didn't I think of that? I don't know to this day why I never thought about calling my insurance company. I'm like, Ringo, time to do the work that I pay for every single month. I didn't even think of that. But yeah, I ended up paying for that, which was such a pain. But the leak in my main bathroom went downstairs, which affected that property, which was also a pain. Oh, somebody who has not called me in a long time just called me. Girl, I'll call you back. Interesting. Anyway, we'll continue with this video, and we're not gonna remove this part of it because editing, child. Anyway, but yeah, I have had the time with this property. If I look at all my properties, this is the one that has cost me the most money, like the most money thus far. And honestly, there isn't really much I can do about it. But do I regret buying it? No, really. I think it has been a great experience for me. I'm not sure yet if I do buy another leasehold, if I'll buy a top apartment again, or if I'll go for a middle one. Definitely anti-ground one, but we shall see. I'm not completely 100% out of a ground one. It's just that for most of them, especially the ones I've looked at, security has always been a concern for me. So I'm like, no, ma'am. Especially because they have their own door, like for exit purposes, which is great in events of fire, but it's there's just been a lot of reports, especially in my area. So I'm like, no. But that has been an experience that I have had, and I've talked about paying ground rent. When I bought the property and I took over the property, the ground rent was £70. I now pay £80 every single month, and I'm waiting for the summer for them to send me a letter to let me know, because they kind of like send all of these calculations how much they had to spend on taking care of the communal area. So for me, it's kind of like the stairs and the downstairs door, making sure they comply with regulation and all of that good jazz. And when they look at their balance sheet, they have to pass the costs somewhere. But I also think there's the 2022 is it leasehold regulation? What is it? I want to Google it now, but I don't think I have enough time. But in any case, there is that might protect us a little bit as leasehold property owners and stuff like that, but we shall see. But yeah, so those are the pros and cons. Personally, I am still in favor of owning one. My mortgage advisor might not be so keen, but I don't mind it, to be honest. I think it's okay. And yeah, I think I'll continue. What about you guys? Like, I know for the US it might be a little bit different. Like, how do you guys manage leasehold properties? Like, I'm always curious because I watch and I'm always jealous of these duplexes, like where you house hack, you live on one side and rent out the other side. I think it's just the coolest thing ever. We don't really have duplexes in the UK. Yeah, but anyway, it's always fun to learn about how other countries do things. But yeah, so this was the video, you guys. Like I say, this week is property week, is what we're calling it, and next week I am traveling, you know, I'm on my girls trip. I'm very excited about that. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I'm gonna go finish my coffee because it's getting cold, and then I'm gonna hit the hay because it is Sunday, it is freezing, and I ain't got no plans. So yeah, anyway, that is the video. Thank you so much guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, then please give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys in my next video real soon.